Good morning, Bucknutters. Welcome to the Bucknuts Morning 5 on Friday, February 27th, 2015. I am Dave Biddle, and I am pleased to be joined by former Ohio State captain and linebacker Jerry Rudzinski. Jerry, it has been too long. Thank you very much for your time.
It's great to be with you. It has been too long, and I think the Buckeyes rolled a little bit since we last talked.
Yes, they have. Yeah, a little thing called a national title. I want to start off talking about that. How do you stay motivated after winning the national championship? Because we all know, Jerry, that Urban Meyer likes an angry football team. He talks about it all the time. And I think having an angry team in 2014 was somewhat easy. If you think about it, they had the two losses to end the 2013 season. Then they had the loss against Virginia Tech early in the 2014 season when everybody counted them out. And then they were underdogs against Michigan State, Wisconsin, Alabama, and Oregon. Of course, they won all four of those games. Jerry, they're not going to be underdogs at all in 2015, most likely. How does this team stay angry and motivated?
Well, I think, people certainly know the wiring, I think, of Urban Meyer and his hunger. I think, though, Coach Mick, is the answer to that question. That guy he doesn't care what you did last October or November on the field. He doesn't care about what you did down in Dallas against the Ducks when it's his winter conditioning program. And, he ratchets up the intensity in there. And I think, too, the other way to look at that a little bit is you say, how do you stay motivated after winning the national title? I mean, maybe the question we should be asking is, how do you stay motivated when you're 8-4, when you're 10-2, when you're 6-6? Those types of records. One could say, I love this spotlight. I feed off this spotlight. I want to be the guy being talked about on game day and on, national radio and on Bucknuts and so on and so forth. So, I think that if I were there and we were coming off a national title, let's get after it. Now it's go time. Now we got the whole world watching us. Now everybody knows we're not a fake or a pretender. We're the real deal. So I think you could almost turn that on its head and just feed off the energy that's pumping through the program right now.
I love hearing your perspective on that because it's going to be – they have a chance to be a rare repeat national champion, and I hope that's the focus. And I'm with you. I think if anybody can keep these guys motivated, they have the right coaching staff and the right strength and conditioning coach in place there. The million-dollar question, Jerry, who starts at quarterback? Do they go with the two-quarterback system perhaps? How do you bench Cardale Jones? But how do you bench JT? So what do you think is going to happen? Who's going to be the starting quarterback for the Buckeyes in 2015?
Yeah, that's I almost called in sick to avoid having to be put on the spot with that. And I have talked out of both sides of my mouth. I think originally, I said you got to go with it's the Braxton and JT show, and that's where my mind was at originally, but. It's no different than a hockey goalie, quite honestly. They put in the second, third string hockey goalie on these teams. They stay on the ice until they lose a game, and so you could say that about Cardale. And let me dance around this for a while, and then while I try to think of what my answer is going to be. But a couple comments I would make though is the offense. Just produced more when Cardale was out there. I think that deep ball threat and everybody else picking it up, knowing this is our third guy, the Ezekiel Elliott show was just peaking at that time. And he's down at that Sugar Bowl, I'm watching those Alabama defenders, and they're looking at each other like, you want to come up and tackle this guy? Because I certainly don't want to. When he finished on some of those first down runs that he picked up where he just tucked it and went, those guys just didn't want anything to do with that guy. So I think all those things coming together, the running game is opened up, the deep ball is there, Cardale is just such a force that with that big body coming down. That's an effective offense. At the same time, I think he's our least polished quarterback. So that lends itself to somebody else being the guy. The reality is, though, we only have one game one healthy guy right now. So I think that answers it, and I think if I were the head coach, that's what I'd be leaning on. Who's healthy? Guys, whoever's healthy, come out here and let's see who can possibly be in our huddle as a healthy quarterback, and that will bring some clarity to you. I would also tell you, Dave, there's exceptions, of course, and I'm sure you've been around enough Ohio State players. You get some guys who are kind of a victim, and the coach should have played me more, and I got robbed, and I was better than that guy, and I should have been out there, and it was political. Those guys are, though, like 1 in every 30 players. I mean, the other 29 out of 30 players have the mindset of, I went in the film room, I watch it with my own 2 eyes, I'm on the practice field every day. Every single step we take in Columbus, Ohio, when it comes to football, is being evaluated by a team of the best coaches in the world. I know who deserves to be on the field. And those players in those meeting rooms, I'm telling you, upper 90s% of the time, they get it. Like, this is the pecking order. And if I were the coach, I'd treat it that way as well. So where I'm going with all that is, let's let this play out in the spring. I mean, if Cardale is not the answer, up with the next guy, or if JT's not the answer, up with the next guy. And I think you got to just rep this thing out in the spring. You got to rep it out in August. And would I be afraid of a 2-quarterback system? Heck no. I mean, I'd put both those guys in there. I'd maybe put, more than 2 guys in there if you had some kind of unique situation where you're rotating. I mean, why only rotate 2? I mean, you want to talk about a spotlight, attention for the program, potentially a recruiting tool. I mean, these guys want to get to the NFL more than they just want padded stats. And I think that, shame on our coaches if they box themselves into a corner and make too many declarations early on. I think Urban's playing it perfectly, and let's see what happens this offseason. Let's see what happens with 7-on-7s. Let's see who makes gains in the weight room. Let's see who's healthy. All those things need to be considered.
One thing I think is really cool, Jerry, about these quarterbacks, they seem like a band of brothers. They're very close to each other. Now, maybe there's more to the story than what I know, but at least from appearances, it seems like they're very close. You'll see Cardale and JT going out shoe shopping together and putting pictures on Twitter and Instagram. And you think if these guys don't like each other, they're hiding it very well, and that's great because they're going to be competing for the starting job. There might be a 2-quarterback system, like you said. Now, you lived through it. You were on the team when Joe Germain and Stanley Jackson had the last time the Buckeyes really had a 2-quarterback system. You were on the team. What are the negatives there? Can that be a divide in the locker rooms? I know Big Ten Network did their Big Ten Elite on the 1996 Buckeyes, and they throughout the program, there were kind of the underlying current was there was a little bit of division in the locker room when you had the 2 quarterbacks. That would be my only concern. I tend to think that Urban Meyer can pull it off, and I tend to think, with Cardale Jones and JT Barrett being friends, that they could do this without it splitting up the locker room. I want to get your perspective on that, though, Jerry.
Yeah, well, I was shocked at that Big Ten special on that Rose Bowl team. I don't know if it was framed up, kind of sound bites here and there to make it seem more dramatic, but I can speak for the defense, and it's like it wasn't even on our radar. All you care about is your assignment, and I'm telling you, those coaches ratchet up the intensity on your own job so much. I'm not like the delusional guy that was, rah, let's just be a great linebacker and not worry about anybody else. I mean, I lived in the real world. I paid attention to the team. But I'm telling you, Dave, it was such a non-issue, and I was really shocked at that documentary on how much was made of that and team chemistry. And, I mean, I'm sure that Joe and Stanley, and they're calling their moms and dads at night and, whatever, like talking it out. I'm sure it was a dramatic experience for them. I think it's way overplayed. I think I don't think it disrupts chemistry as much as people say. If anything, it's just a matter of reps in practice, because you get more reps, you're probably going to be more polished for the game. You're probably going to, you go make your couple of mistakes during the practice week instead of only getting limited reps and making them during the game. I think that could be more of an issue, but yeah, I mean, it's if I'm an outside linebacker and if Ryan Miller and Greg Belisari are splitting time with the other outside linebacker, I'm high-fiving whoever's in there, and it's like, do your dang job. I'm going to try to do mine over here. You just don't care. So I absolutely think we can do it. I think it would be a cool dimension. I think it would almost be a cool, I don't want to say marketing, but you know how Urban likes to get that spotlight on his program, and you know how he likes to play things up to the Ohio State brand, and I think that it would just be a wonderful thing to have happen if you got the quarterbacks who mentally can pull it off. They both can physically pull it off, but can they mentally do it? With Stanley and Joe, it worked out great. You know, I mean, Michigan. We didn't lose that Michigan game back in the day that they talked about in that documentary because of just our quarterback play. And Joe got the start, and he didn't play that well. We just, you know what? We didn't make the right blocks. We didn't tackle the right way, and we just got beat. I mean, just man to man, we got beat that game. And so that would be my take on a multiple quarterback system.
What wonderful perspective there, because, you know, as people like me who just watched that 96 documentary and were huge fans of that team, you know, as like I said, they made it seem like there was this huge divide in the locker room. You were in the locker room, and you can set the record straight. There was no divide in the locker room, so that's wonderful to hear your perspective on there and kind of hear the real deal about that situation. One more topic before I let you go. No one leaving early for the NFL off the national championship Buckeyes. I'm still amazed. As you know, Jerry, for the last 20 or 30 years, it seems like Ohio State loses more early entry players than anyone. I mean, Taylor Decker could have went early. Adolphus Washington could have left. Cardale, people thought he was going to leave when he called the press conference in Cleveland. Nobody left. I'm still amazed by this, and I think that's just wonderful.
Yeah, well, it is neat, and I think it would be different next year as you look at what could potentially be the case next year. But let's enjoy it. So I think some of that is let's come back and win it, but I think a lot of it too is just circumstances and where would I really be taken. I mean, I think Adolphus Washington, he's got to make sure he's not that tweener guy for the NFL, and you know, does he have that mass to be an anchor point on Sunday afternoons, and does he have the speed to be that all-out, you know, disruptive playmaker on an edge? I mean, so you know, you kind of go case by case, and I think it's just the way it unfolded this year. I don't think that this is some new trend where we're going to see guys sticking around for 4 years when they could go be a first-round draft pick and things of that nature. But it is really special to see this many guys coming back. I look at you know, go over to the Woody Hayes and you see Bosa in that weight room. You see Joshua Perry in that weight room. I mean, some of these guys, I'm telling you, I mean, their shoulders have gotten wider. They've gotten taller. They're filled out. It's just dramatic, I think, how much bigger, badder, meaner, stronger our team can be next year because these guys are all coming back. You know, because these sophomores are going to be a year more into it, because, you know, all these grades are going to be contributing and just dominant. Physically, I mean, as far as like the airport look or the get off the bus look that people kind of joke about, and boy, put us up against anybody in the country, because we're going to have some big, thick guys getting off that bus and walking into some enemy stadiums, and it's going to be a real treat to watch.
And you're right. Next year at this time, we're not going to be able to say that nobody left early for the NFL. There's going to be a host of players that are going to leave early for the NFL. You have to think Joey Bosa, Ezekiel Elliott, Von Bell, maybe Cardale Jones, maybe Eli Apple, maybe others are all going to leave early. But I'm going to enjoy it just for this year because I'm so used to, you know, players leaving early. And the 2015 Buckeyes are going to be stacked. And Jerry Rudzinski, great stuff. Love getting your perspective. You were requested by many Bucknuts listeners, and we're very happy to get you on the show. Thank you for your time, my friend.
Hey, thank you, David. Anytime, and look forward to doing it again.
I want to let the listeners know I'll be co-hosting on 97.1 The Fan in Columbus today from noon to 3 with Anthony Rothman on the Carpenter and Rothman Show. Bobby has the day off. So if you want more Buckeye discussion, please tune in to 97.1 The Fan today from noon to 3. You can also listen online at 97.1thefan.com. Thanks again to former Ohio State linebacker and captain Jerry Rudzinski for his time and his excellent insights. And thank you to the listeners for tuning in. I hope everyone has a great day and a great weekend. Take it away, best damn band in the land.